Hello, everybody, and welcome back to On the Diamond and Into the Deep. And we are back on a Sunday morning. All glory to God. Whatever. But we're back on Sunday morning, and there's been some pretty big news that just broke. It is 9:50 at the time of my recording. The Mariners play on Sunday Night Baseball tonight. First time in my lifetime, first time in 20 years. So that'll be something. And with that, you always expected one Julio Rodriguez to be in the lineup. And one Julio Rodriguez will be in the lineup. As he will be getting taken off the IL today. That is per Buster Olney, who works for ESPN. And I don't like it. I really don't. And let me explain why. There have been videos of Julio running the bases, doing his on-field workouts before the games all this weekend. And I've noticed a few things. Number one, he doesn't look comfortable moving, which is kind of sort of a big problem with a dude that a big part of his game is running, whether that's stealing bases, running the bases, or running the outfield. And the report is he's going to DH, and that's been the report for a few days when he comes back. But a high ankle sprain is no joke of an injury. Well, it's not as bad as maybe an injury that would take quite a long time, like an Achilles or a broken ankle would be. It's still no joke. That's an injury that can last for a while and can linger for a while. And it's the type of thing that if he really doesn't let this heal, this is going to be tailing with him throughout the rest of the season and into October if they make it to October. And that's a risk I really don't think you can take. You have to make sure that he is healthy and that he can run and that he is with you down that stretch. You need him down the stretch. He is your franchise. And you are risking him getting injured so that he can play on Sunday Night Baseball. And I don't know if that is due to ESPN, who broke that he is going to be playing, or if that is due to Julio himself, or if that is due to higher ups in the organization that want the money that will come with Julio Rodriguez playing in this game. I don't know who that all comes from, but it reeks of some sort of greed and yearning to have Julio Rodriguez in the Sunday Night Baseball. And I don't like that because you have to make sure that he is healthy. And if he was going to be out until late August or September, so be it. Because you need him at his very best down the stretch. You need the Julio Rodriguez, JROD. You need JROD to be there. You don't just need Julio. You don't just need Rodriguez. You need JROD, Julio, Rodriguez in this lineup and in this field. You need him roaming center field, tracking down balls with Randy Arozarena in left and Victor Robles or Mitch Haniger in right. That's what you need. You don't need him tonight. You've been doing perfectly fine without him, and you can keep your head above water until he is healthier and he can truly, truly help your team. Now, with that, he probably will bring some help, even just with his bat. But without him being able to run, the bat itself doesn't play as well. That means he's going to have to hit homers, and it's going to be a lot of singles. And once he gets on first, he's not going to be able to run first to third very easily. He's not going to be able to go really much further than to second on a ball hit to the outfield. He's not going to be able to score from first ever. And you can't expect that. And for a team that lacks energy sometimes and lacks just athleticism in the lineup and in the field, it feels to me as though you need Julio to be one of those dudes when he's playing. And while he'll have energy and he'll be hyped to be back on the field, you shouldn't just be loading him up with painkillers or whatever, just hoping he can go out there and play. it's risky, and I don't think that this risk is worth taking. Now, with that, the Mariners won Game 1 and Game 2 of the series, shutouts in both, and the pitching staff has been unbelievable, truly unbelievable. The lineup has done what they needed to do, and that's important. That is important, especially coming off a Detroit series, which I'm going to recap really quickly, where the offense mostly was just asleep. Game 1, Game 2, offense was asleep. That is what my notes say. The offense was asleep in Game 1 and again in Game 2. Now, in Game 2, it's a little bit more excusable with Tariq Skubal, who might just well win the AL Cy Young pitching. And, that's going to happen when you're facing a Cy Young dude. That is going to happen. But in Game 1, you were facing a nobody, man. This is a dude with an ERA over 6 in his starts so far this year. Dude that has been god-awful, and you let him make you look like a AAA lineup. I mean, truly a AAA lineup. And, again, that type of stuff is going to happen from, every now and again. That will happen, especially on a game that's in between games where you're facing Zach Wheeler and Tariq Skubal. That's going to happen. But I would prefer it not to happen down the stretch. These are games you kind of need to win. You win that game and you are up on Houston right now. You are up a game on Houston right now if you win that game. Every game matters. And, that's nothing that's not obvious, of course. Every game obviously matters. And you can lose games, right? You're going to lose games. But losing games in that way is frustrating. That's what's frustrating. You have your ace on the mound facing a nobody starting pitcher, and you get shut out against also a just not very good bullpen. Detroit is just not overall a very good roster and team. And that's what's frustrating. Now, they did win Game 3, which, credit to them, whatever. Mitch Haniger walk-off. But even that, you almost lost that game too. You have to be... You're playing a team that is very clearly worse than you. You have to make them look worse than you in the series, over the course of the series. There was no point in that series where you truly looked like the better team. And that's a problem in of itself. They seem to not be able to get their energy up to face these, middling lower teams that are not as good as them. But then they can get their, energy levels up to face the Mets. They can get their energy levels up to face the Phillies. That's a problem. And I don't know where that starts. Does that start with the players? Does that start with the managers? That Scott Service? I don't know where that starts. But that's a problem that needs to be talked about and needs to be fixed. You heard Cal Raleigh say, and it's hard. I understand it. It's hard to keep your energy up for an entire season. But it is August. Say this were May, and I would be like, okay, yeah, that makes sense. But this is August. We're at the beginning of August, a month in which the Mariners have been unbelievable for the past years. You need to be unbelievable again down the stretch. You need to be unbelievable. You need to win games. You need to go on a run where you can just go and win games and go get first place. So as I was saying, you need to win games down the stretch. And to do that, you need energy. And if you can't get your energy up against the teams you're supposed to beat, you are not going to be able to win this division. Because winning games you are supposed to win is a crucial part of winning these games down the stretch and of winning a division. The Astros aren't just going to lose to teams that they shouldn't lose to. That's not how this works. Neither are the teams in the wild card race that you might need to get into if you can't win the division. Overall, you need to have high energy. You need to be excited to play the game. You need to feel like you can win every game. And if you don't have the energy, the emotion to feel like you can win every game, you're not going to win every game. You're not going to win games enough. You got to just win series, right? And that's why tonight's game really does not matter that much. You've already won the series. Now, that said, would a sweep be nice? Of course. Of course it would. And would it be nice to see Luis Castillo bounce back? Again, of course. He had a rough start earlier this week on Tuesday. Sort of rough. I mean, he looked good, right? He had 9 strikeouts. But he threw a lot of pitches. He gave up runs. Like, you're going to need the good Castillo. You're going to need the one that not only is missing bats, but is getting outs. That's what you need from him tonight. Now, with that, again, the Detroit series, I have 3 takeaways. Number 1, when Robles isn't hitting right now, the offense is bland and boring and just doesn't have any life to it. Number 2, to me, it feels like bullpen management has been a serious problem. It doesn't feel like without the truly mid to high leverage dudes that they can have, the only dude that you really have that's that spot right now is Colin Snyder. That's all. If you didn't have Colin Snyder, I don't know what they'd be doing. The problem right now for this team is, what do you do when you are down a run, down 2 runs, and it's the 7th, 8th, 9th innings, and it's you have the chance to come back and win this game, and you kind of need to win this game, but it doesn't really feel like you should be going to Garcia or Munoz. Who do you go to? Obviously, Snyder's one of those dudes, but who else? Who else do you have confidence in right now, truly preserving your opportunity to win this game? Obviously, they didn't have belief in Jonathan Hernandez, who I honestly feel bad for. You threw him 3 games in a row, 3 out of 4 days. They had an off day Monday, so they threw him Sunday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and then they DFA'd him. And it's just why are you using him Wednesday? There was a lot of talk about, why are you not going to Garcia? Why are you not going to Munoz in that situation? You're up a run going into the 9th. My question is, why are you going to Jonathan Hernandez? Out of all the dudes you could go to, the dude has just been pitching a lot. He's pitched your past 2 games, 2 of the last 3 days, and then your answer for why you don't want to use Garcia and Munoz is you want to be able to save them, save their health. You can't say that answer when you're using Jonathan Hernandez that much, and then DFA him. And I understand it's a business, but it's also people that you're dealing with. And you need to understand that that is how you hurt someone's arm. And that's how you, make someone just hate your team. That's effed up. It really is. Now, back onto the bullpen management stuff. The Mariners did make a move to try and shore it up. And it was an in-house move, as they all have to be now, with Troy Taylor being promoted from AA Arkansas to the majors. Now, Troy Taylor is mostly a fastball slider guy, but his fastball has a lot of run to it, so it's going to be almost a little bit more like a sinker sometimes. He did not pitch yesterday. They called him up before yesterday's game, and he was really, really good for AA Arkansas this year. He started in Everett this year, and in Everett, he threw in 11 games. He is a relief pitcher. He threw 11 games, 12 runs. He gave up 6 hits, 2 runs, 5 walks, with 14 strikeouts in those 12 innings. Now, in AA, he has thrown in 29 games. He threw 30 2/3 innings, and he gave up, in total, 16 hits, 6 runs, only 4 of which were earned, only 9 walks, and 31 strikeouts. That is good enough for a whip of .815 and for hits per 9 of 4.7, home runs per 9 of 0. He did not give up a home run yet this year in the minors. A walks per 9 of 2.6, a strikeouts per 9 of 9.1, and a strikeout to walk ratio of 3.44. All of those are in Arkansas. He also had an ERA of 1.17. And this dude was really good. And he could be a really good reliever for you. Now, will he be? That is yet to be seen. But he is really good stuff. Everything I hear about him reminds me of Matt Brash. He has not thrown for a super long amount of time. He was drafted out of UC Irvine. And he was that was out of in the 2022 draft. Last year was his first year actually pitching for the teams. and he pitched in Modesto and Everett. In Modesto, he had a 4.11 ERA, and Everett, he had a .87. Modesto, he threw 35 innings. Everett, he threw 10 and a third. And then he was at the Fall League, where he threw 10 and a third innings with a 1.74 ERA. And he has only given up. He's only given up one home run in his entire pro career. That includes the Fall League, too. The only home run he gave up was in Modesto last year. Since that home run, he has not given up a home run, which is kind of utterly ridiculous. And if you can add that type of arm to your pen and it can translate over to the majors fairly quickly, that's a weapon. That is an absolute weapon, and you really love to see that because this bullpen needs a dude that can sort of be a strikeout weapon, dude, other than Jimmy Garcia. They missed Matt Brash, like, sorely. They sorely missed Matt Brash, and hopefully Gregory Santos can be back soon. I haven't seen an update on him yet this week. I didn't see one on Friday. Let's see. Yeah, I have not seen anything in terms of updates on Gregory Santos, which is very weird, but we'll see. I would assume he's out a little bit longer. Obviously, he had the bicep thing. But it's weird that there hasn't been a single update. Anyways, back to the Detroit series. My third takeaway was that any sort of defensive woes are going to loom large. And larger than ever. And that is because, number one, you're getting a lot of ground balls with your pitchers lately. And any run that you give up matters a ton. And number two, with your offense struggling, again, any run you give up is going to matter. And any sort of defensive woe is going to probably lead to a run, as it sort of seems to just start things from spiraling. Like, you make an error, and it seems a lot of the time stuff starts just spiraling out on you in an inning. It seems like it gets the pitcher's heads, it gets to everyone's heads, and it's frustrating. It is. Now, let's get back into the present time. As tonight, the Mariners face Luis Severino and the New York Mets in the third game of the series. The Mariners are going for the Brooms, and they will be on Sunday Night Baseball for the first time in 20 years, like I said. And that is why I believe Randy Arozarena is my Mariner for tonight. I had him for my series when I did the prep before Game 1. He's had a good series so far. And I said that because he was really good against lefties in general, and they faced two lefties the past 2 days. But tonight, there is a spotlight. There's a spotlight on the Mariners. There's a spotlight on Randy Arozarena, Julio Rodriguez. And he likes the spotlight. We all know about his postseason stats. And the dude, he is when the light is on. When the lights shine brightest, this dude shows out, shows up, shows out. I still think he's going to hit a homer on this homestand. He hasn't done it. And I think it happens tonight. I think he does it off Luis Severino in the first inning to really get this stadium rocking, this fan base rocking, get Sunday Night Baseball off to a beautiful, beautiful start. And again, Randy Arozarena, home run in his first at bat in the first inning. Well, he's batting probably second tonight. Let's do it, Randy. Come on, kid. Now on Luis Severino, he's not going to get a ton of whiff. He's not going to get a ton of strikeout. Those are the two things that he really struggles with most. He's in the 20th percentile in strikeout percentage, only striking out 18.6% of the hitters. In terms of whiff, he's in the 12th percentile, so he's quite a bit below league average. League average is 50th percentile if you don't know, so he's 38% below league average. His whiff percentage is 20, which is just not very good in general. That said, he has limited a lot of barrels, he's limited a lot of hard hit, and he's limited hard average exit velocities, which indicates that he's not going to give up a ton of hard hit, obviously. He's probably not going to give up a ton of home runs. And the question is whether the Mariners can squeak across some walks. He's about league average in terms of walking hitters. Can you work counts? Can you get walks? And then can you scrape across some singles? And then can you go pop a homer? Like, this is the type of game where really can you just go pop a homer? And if you can pop a homer, you're probably going to be able to win this game. He also gets heavy ground ball, and that's due to his sinker usage. In terms of usages, he throws his four seam 35% of the time, sinker 27% of the time, sweeper 13, slider 10, changeup 8, and cutter 8. Those are all averaged. Some of them a little bit below, some of them a little bit above. But back on what I was saying, he uses the sinker, again, 26% of the time. He uses that a lot more of the time against righties than lefties. The four-seamer is the fastball he uses a lot against left-handed hitters. Sinker is going to be the pitch he uses against right-handed hitters in terms of the fastballs. And the sinker is, again, going to produce ground balls. That's what it does. So can you squeak ground balls through? Can you be sort of like what the Tigers did to Luis Castillo on Tuesday? Can you just go put a bunch of singles all together and score some runs? Can you do that, and then can you maybe pop a homer and really get him, like, get one off of him? That's the question. In terms of home runs he's given up this year, he has been really good. He has given up 1.3 home runs per 9 this year. In terms of what that number looks like, he's only given up 9 home runs in 62 and a third innings this year. He has less strikeouts than innings this year. Also, 56 strikeouts to 62 and a third innings. He's given up 20 earned runs. He's been really pretty solid this year. He's started 11 games. He has a 2.89 ERA, 62 and a third innings again. So the dude has been good. Will he shut down the Mariners? You never know. It seems like they're a little bit due to get shut down in one of these games. After they were pretty decent the past 2 days at least, they scored runs. A lot of it was sort of like this classic 2024 Mariners thing where they score some runs in the first inning and then they sort of just fall asleep. And you know what? Sometimes that's going to be okay. Sometimes that's has to be good enough. But can you go get some runs off Luis Severino? And can you get a sweep? Again, I think Randy Arozarena is my Mariner for the night. Julio Rodriguez will be back. We'll see what he can do. We'll see how he looks. I really don't know what to expect from him, I'll be honest. Like, even with the high ankle sprain, I don't know how that looks with him hitting. Like, I'm sure they feel confident in him hitting enough that, like, they're calling him up, but I can't even remember which ankle it was. Julio Rodriguez injury. Let's see. Yeah, it was his right ankle. So that's his back ankle. And his entire problem this year is he has not been able to get into his back leg, his back glutes. Like, he's not been able to put enough weight and pressure in that back leg to then be able to strike forward and get to a baseball and hit it out. I feel like, to me, it feels as though that right ankle is also going to prevent him from doing that. And I don't really, I feel like that is sort of bound to set some more bad habits, just as he was sort of figuring it out earlier this year before he got hurt. Like, he was just figuring it out and then he got hurt. He's been out about 3 weeks now. But again, I don't really like this move. I feel like it's bound to, number one, create bad habits, as I just said, and number two, I think he's bound to just get hurt more. But we'll see. I'm gonna trust their judgment on it, and hopefully, he goes out there, proves everyone wrong, hits a couple dingers, and is able to just jog around the base paths. Like, hopefully, that's all he really needs to do. That would be best case scenario, obviously. But let's go beat the Mets. Let's get the sweep. Go Mariners. Trident's up. Peace, y'all.